Have you heard the latest rumblings from the trade market? The Toronto Maple Leafs might be on the verge of a game-changing move that could shake up their roster and reignite their Stanley Cup ambitions. Imagine adding a proven winner with a championship pedigree to our lineup. Could this be the spark we need? With a struggling veteran potentially available, it's time to dive deep into the implications of this intriguing situation. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and give us a like so you can stay in the loop with all the latest Maple Leafs news. Elliotte Friedman's latest report has certainly sparked a lot of debate about the Toronto Maple Leafs and their potential interest in trading for the two-time Stanley Cup champion Vladimir Tarasenko, who is now available from the Detroit Red Wings. With his current struggles and underwhelming performance this season, it raises the question, should the Maple Leafs make a move for him? The Maple Leafs are in dire need of offensive support. With only 7 goals and 15 assists in 53 games this year, Tarasenko's numbers are certainly disappointing compared to his previous seasons. Just a year removed from scoring 23 goals and winning a Stanley Cup with the Florida Panthers, and the season before that netting 34 goals, it's hard to believe we're talking about a player of his caliber potentially being available. But here we are. In the context of the Maple Leafs, acquiring a player like Tarasenko could provide an intriguing boost to their lineup. His experience and knack for finding the back of the net could be just what Toronto needs as they push toward the playoffs. He's proven he can play at a high level. And let's not forget, he was a key contributor to a championship team in St. Louis. He could fit right into the top 9 and bolster the power play, which has been a critical element for Toronto in their offensive arsenal. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the contract. Tarasenko carries a cap hit of $4.75 million. Not just for this season, but next season as well. This is a considerable investment for a player who is currently underperforming. It makes you question whether it's wise to commit long-term to a player who might be on the decline. Wouldn't it be safer to look at players like Scott Laughton or Yanni Gourde? Both of these players can contribute defensively while adding secondary scoring, which has been a noted weakness for the Leafs at times. What's more, it's likely that acquiring Tarasenko wouldn't come cheap. The Red Wings would probably want more than just a second-round pick to part ways with a player of his stature. So, the big question is, would you be willing to let go of Nick Robertson or Pontus Holmberg to secure Tarasenko? As a fan, I find myself torn. On one hand, Tarasenko has the experience and the pedigree. But on the other hand, we're talking about young players with potential who could grow into solid contributors for years to come. I want to engage with you all on this. Do you think this was the best decision? Is acquiring a player like Tarasenko worth the risk? Or should we protect our assets and look for other options? I genuinely want to hear your thoughts. As a passionate fan of the Maple Leafs, I can't help but feel the weight of these decisions. The hopes and dreams of the fan base are tied to the moves this organization makes. Every trade, every signing, it all adds up to the ultimate goal, bringing the cup back home to Toronto. So, what's the right path here? Personally, I lean towards a cautious approach. While Tarasenko is undeniably talented, the risk of investing in a player who may be declining is concerning. I would prefer to see the Leafs make moves that solidify the team's depth and address their defensive needs, rather than putting all our eggs in one basket with a player who may not return to form. As we dive into the latest updates surrounding the Toronto Maple Leafs, it's hard not to feel a mix of anticipation and concern regarding Calle Jarnkrok. His recovery from sports hernia surgery is critical not just for his own performance, but for the team's overall strategy and direction this season. Let's be real here. The Leafs have been struggling to find consistent scoring from their bottom lines, and Jarnkrok was expected to provide that much-needed boost as the anchor on our third line. It's been tough watching this team grapple with offensive challenges, especially when you consider that Jarnkrok has proven he can be a significant contributor in the past. Sure, last season wasn't his best. 10 goals and 11 assists just doesn't cut it for a player of his talent. But let's not forget, he's just 2 years removed from a season where he lit the lamp 20 times. The offensive skill is there, waiting to be unleashed, and his return could be the key to unlocking a more balanced lineup. Now, let's talk numbers. Jarnkrok has accumulated 136 goals and 165 assists over 699 career games. That's not just depth, that's a player who can step up when needed, especially in crucial moments. When you pair that with his defensive prowess, he's never had more giveaways than takeaways in a season. you begin to see how vital he could be for the Leafs. Imagine him solidifying our third line while also helping kill penalties. That's a 2-for-1 deal that Toronto desperately needs right now. But here's the catch. With the trade deadline looming, the health of Järnkrok is paramount. If he can't return and start contributing soon, we might see GM Brad Treliving pivot towards a different strategy, perhaps targeting a third-line center from outside the organization. Do you think this was the best decision? Honestly, I'm torn. Bringing in a new player could disrupt the existing chemistry, and we all know how delicate that can be. If Järnkrok can make a comeback, it allows Treliving to focus on adding a scoring winger to complement John Tavares and perhaps even a defenseman to support Morgan Rielly. Wouldn't that be an exciting move? But if Järnkrok can't be the player we hope he can be, it's a slippery slope, and the Leafs may miss out on key opportunities to strengthen the roster. And let's not forget, Järnkrok's presence could also impact the development of our promising prospects. If he steps up and fills that crucial pivot role, we might not have to sacrifice talents like Easton Cowan or Fraser Minton in a trade. This is about the future of the franchise, and every decision counts. With a 2-week break coming up for the Four Nations face-off, Järnkrok has a small window to get back on the ice and show he can be the anchor we need. But time is ticking, and if he can't deliver, the Leafs might find themselves slipping away from the Atlantic supremacy we all crave. So, where do you stand on this? Do you believe Järnkrok's return could turn the tide for the Leafs? Or are you more in favor of seeking outside help? I want to hear your thoughts on this down below. Your opinions matter, and the debate is what makes being a Leafs fan so passionate and engaging. As we continue to follow these developments, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel to stay updated on all things Maple Leafs. And remember to activate that notification bell so you won't miss any of the latest news and insights. Let's keep the conversation going. This is just the beginning of what promises to be an electrifying season.